Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And this one is going to be really fascinating. We're diving into this book called Tools for Thought, or at least excerpts that you sent me.
Yeah.
And this is really interesting because it's about computers, but not really about computers like we think of today.
Sure.
It's about this concept of tools for thought. So like amplifying human intellect.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating shift in perspective because, for so long, computers were really about crunching numbers and, doing calculations faster than humans could.
Right, just basically like a really, really fast calculator or something.
Exactly.
But this book, Tools for Thought, it looks at computers in a totally different way.
Yeah, it's about how computers can augment human intelligence, make us think better, not just faster.
Yeah, and the book even talks about this concept of infinance, which is like this generation growing up surrounded by these tools.
Yeah.
What might their thought processes be like?
It's mind-boggling to even consider, but maybe by diving into this history, we can get a glimpse of how those infinauts might think.
Okay, well, let's jump in. Then the book starts with this pretty amazing character named Charles Babbage back in the 1800s.
Oh, yeah, Babbage.
And get this guy invented both the cowcatcher on trains and the ancestor of the modern computer.
It's a testament to the unexpected paths that innovation can take. Babbage was, originally focused on safety on the railways, designing the cowcatcher. But his journey into computation, it actually stemmed from a deep frustration with human error.
Really?
He saw these mistakes in mathematical tables, which were calculated by hand back then, and he thought, there has to be a better way.
So this like annoyance with math errors led him to create this thing called the difference engine,
Exactly.
which was like a mechanical device designed to automate those calculations.
Right, a machine that could eliminate those pesky errors.
And then enter Ada Lovelace, daughter of the famous poet Lord Byron.
oh, yeah.
She was a math prodigy, and she saw something even deeper in Babbage's invention.
Lovelace, she was really one of the few who truly grasped the potential of Babbage's difference engine. She recognized that it wasn't just a number cruncher, but a device capable of manipulating symbols and patterns.
Oh, wow.
She basically foresaw the power of programming over a century before the first computer program was ever written.
Well, she really was ahead of her time, though.
Way ahead of her time.
But the story doesn't stop there. We've got George Boole, this self-taught mathematician who basically linked logic and math together. And this is like essential to how computers work today, right?
Absolutely. Boole developed Boolean algebra, a system where logical statements could be expressed as equations.
Okay.
And this was huge because it showed that logical reasoning could be automated, a concept that would become fundamental to how computers process information.
So every time I ask my phone to like filter my search results or like set up a rule in my email, that's Boolean logic in action.
Exactly. Boolean logic is behind so much of our digital lives, even if we don't realize it.
It's really running things behind the scenes.
And then you have Herman Hollerith, who used punched cards to process data for the 1890 census.
Punch cards, those things you see in old movies.
That's right. But this wasn't just about crunching numbers. It marked a turning point towards automating the processing of massive data sets.
So basically, Hollerith laid the foundation for the whole age of big data.
Absolutely. His punch card system was a major innovation that significantly sped up data processing. You could say he was a pioneer of the information age.
Wow, from cowcatchers to census data. It's amazing how these seemingly unrelated ideas led to modern computing.
It's the beauty of innovation. Sometimes the most groundbreaking ideas come from the most unexpected places.
So we've got these different pieces kind of coming together. But I think most people would agree that Alan Turing really kicked things into high gear with his work on computation.
Absolutely. In 1936, years before anyone built a working computer, Turing conceived of this thing called the Turing machine.
Okay, I've heard of the Turing test. Is this Turing machine something different?
Yeah, the Turing machine, it wasn't a physical machine, but a theoretical model. It showed how a machine could perform any computation if given the right set of instructions.
So how does that relate to the computers we use today?
It's the foundation of how all computers work. Imagine a machine with a tape divided into squares, each containing a symbol. The machine reads the symbols and, based on a set of rules, manipulates them.
Okay.
That's essentially how algorithms work today. Your smartphone, your laptop, they're all built on the principles Turing laid out.
Wow, so he basically came up with the blueprint for all modern computation.
He did, and his impact goes even further because Turing also had this whole other life shrouded in secrecy because of his work during World War II.
Right, breaking the Enigma code.
Exactly. Turing played a critical role in breaking the Enigma code used by the Germans. His work at Bletchley Park using a top-secret machine nicknamed Colossus was instrumental in the Allied victory.
It's incredible to think that this one person made such a significant contribution to theoretical computer science and to real-world events. It shows how these abstract ideas can have a profound impact on history.
Absolutely. Turing's story is a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge and innovation can have far-reaching consequences, shaping the course of history in ways we might never fully anticipate.
So from these theoretical machines, we're now moving into the actual construction of the first computers.
Right, we're entering a new era, the era of electronic computation.
And this is where we meet ENIAC,
Yeah.
right? This machine that was so large, it filled an entire room.
Oh yeah, the ENIAC was the first general-purpose electronic computer, a marvel of engineering, but also a bit of a monster.
I've heard stories about this behemoth.
Imagine a machine weighing 30 tons, generating so much heat that it kept the room temperature close to 120 degrees.
Wow, that must have been something to see.
It was a sight to behold, but while the ENIAC represented a massive leap forward in computing power, it wasn't as flexible as the computers we have today.
In what way?
Well, its circuits were hardwired, so to change the computations it performed, you had to physically rewire the machine.
Oh, wow. So it was more like a super fast calculator than the programmable computers that we're used to today.
Exactly, but then a chance encounter at a train station changed everything.
A train station.
John von Neumann, a brilliant polymath, met a mathematician involved in the ENIAC project, and this seemingly insignificant encounter led von Neumann to make a revolutionary contribution,
Which was?
the concept of the stored program computer.
So a chance meeting changed the course of computing history.
Right.
What was so revolutionary about this stored program idea?
Before von Neumann, instructions for computations were hardwired. His insight was that both instructions and data could be stored in the computer's memory,
Oh,
allowing a single machine to perform a wide variety of tasks just by loading different programs.
I see.
The foundation for the software revolution that we see today. Think about it. You can switch from writing an email to editing a photo to watching a movie all on the same device because of the stored program concept.
Wow, that is mind-blowing. It's amazing how this one simple yet profound idea really revolutionized computing.
Yeah.
But was there any debate over who actually, came up with this stored program concept?
There was some discussion about who deserves full credit for the stored program concept, while von Neumann is most closely associated with it.
Yeah.
It was a collaborative effort involving other brilliant minds like J. Presper Eckert, John Mauchly, and Hermann Goldstein.
Also a team effort.
Exactly. It's a reminder that major scientific breakthroughs often involve multiple people building upon each other's ideas.
It's easy to simplify things when we look back at history and just focus on a single name, but there are so many other people involved.
Absolutely. It's important to remember that progress is often the result of collective effort, and that innovation thrives in environments where collaboration and the open exchange of ideas are encouraged.
So we've laid the groundwork for modern computing, but where does the idea of, thinking machines come in?
That's where cybernetics enters the picture, and with it, the brilliant Norbert Wiener. He was a child prodigy turned mathematician, and his work during World War II on anti-aircraft control systems led him to some really amazing insights about the similarities between machines and living organisms.
Okay, anti-aircraft systems and living organisms. I wouldn't have immediately put those two things together.
It seems like an odd pairing, but Wiener realized that both machines and living things use feedback mechanisms to control their actions and adapt to their environment.
Oh, okay.
In an anti-aircraft system, feedback is used to continuously adjust the aim based on the target's movements. Similarly, our bodies use feedback to regulate temperature, blood pressure, and countless other processes.
So he saw this, common thread running through these seemingly completely different things.
Exactly. Wiener saw this as a fundamental principle applicable to a wide range of systems, from individual machines to entire societies.
That's pretty visionary.
He was way ahead of his time, but the cybernetics wasn't just about Wiener. Another key figure in this story is Claude Shannon, a brilliant scientist who, at the incredibly young age of 22, linked electrical circuits to logical formalisms.
Wow, 20.
Yeah, and later he developed information theory, which gave us a way to quantify information itself.
Okay, quantify information. That sounds pretty abstract. How did he do that?
Shannon connected information to the concept of entropy, which comes from thermodynamics. He used a deck of cards as an analogy. A shuffled deck has high entropy because there are so many possible arrangements to describe the exact arrangement. You need a lot of information.
So the more entropy a system has, the more information is needed to describe its state.
Precisely, Shannon showed that information is essentially about reducing uncertainty. This had a huge impact on communication, computation, and our understanding of how information is transmitted and processed in any system.
It's really amazing how all these different fields like math, engineering, biology, they all come together in the development of computing.
It's a beautiful tapestry of knowledge and innovation, each thread contributing to the richness and complexity of the overall picture.
So we've talked about processing information, but what about the idea of computers as tools for augmenting human intelligence?
Yeah.
When did that shift start to happen?
That shift emerged with J.C.R. Licklider, a visionary psychologist and computer scientist who imagined computers evolving into thinking tools.
Oh, yeah.
He experienced firsthand the limitations of traditional computing while working on data analysis. He spent hours plotting graphs and crunching numbers, leaving him little time for actual thinking.
So he was like drowning in data, but starved for insight. It's a problem that a lot of people still face today.
It is. And this frustration led Licklider to dream of a digital assistant, a tool that could handle the tedious tasks and free his mind to focus on the big picture.
Oh, I like that idea. A digital assistant to amplify our thinking. It seems so relevant now with all the talk about artificial intelligence.
It's incredibly relevant. Licklider called this partnership man-computer symbiosis, and the launch of Sputnik in 1957 added fuel to the fire.
Sputnik, how so?
The U.S. government poured funding into computer research, hoping to catch up with the Soviets. This led to a surge in the development of time-sharing systems and interactive computing.
So in a way, the Cold War kind of accelerated the computer revolution.
It did. The competition with the Soviet Union spurred innovation and investment, which ultimately paved the way for the personal computer revolution. Licklider's vision of interactive computing was finally within reach.
Wow, and that brings us to Doug Engelbart, right? He was the guy who gave that mind-blowing demo in 1968, showcasing things like the mouse windows, hypertext, all things we just take for granted today.
That's right. Engelbart's 1968 demo of his NLS system was revolutionary, not just because of the technology, but because of his vision. He wanted to create a computer system that augmented human intellect and facilitated collaboration, not just crunch numbers.
It's incredible to think that so much of what we consider commonplace in computing today was already present in Engelbart's vision.
It's a testament to the power of visionary thinking. Engelbart showed the world a glimpse into a future where computers would be extensions of our minds, helping us to think, communicate, and solve problems in entirely new ways.
It's amazing to see how all these pioneers, driven by both practical problems and these lofty visions, really shaped the trajectory of computing. And I'm eager to hear more about how these ideas continue to evolve, what they mean for the future of tools for thought. It's really amazing to see how these like unsung heroes, they pop up over and over again in this history of computing and made such incredible contributions.
It really highlights how progress is built upon the work of countless individuals, each pushing the boundaries a little further. And speaking of pushing boundaries, we have to talk about Alan Kay.
Oh yeah, Kay, the
Ugh.
guy who was a child prodigy like on TV quiz shows, but then almost got kicked out of school for insubordination.
He was quite a character.
Yeah, he seems like such a fascinating blend of brilliance and rebelliousness. What was his big thing in the computing world?
Kay was really obsessed with this idea of a fantasy amplifier.
Okay, a fantasy amplifier.
He believed computers could be tools to empower creativity and imagination, especially in children. And he actually envisioned a portable computer, this is years before laptops even existed, that could be used for anything from writing and drawing to programming and music creation. He called it the Dynabook.
So he was like way ahead of his time. He basically foresaw this whole rise of personal computing and its potential to like unlock human creativity.
He did, and I love that he was so focused on empowering children. It really speaks to the transformative power of technology, when it's designed with human potential in mind.
Absolutely. But Kay's impact wasn't just limited to hardware, right? He was also a pioneer in software design. He developed this thing called the Smalltalk programming language, and it was based on this concept of object-oriented programming.
That's right.
Okay, can you break that down for me? Object-oriented programming, it sounds kind of technical.
Sure, think of it like a video game. You have all these different characters, each with their own unique abilities and characteristics, right? In object-oriented programming, each character would be an object with specific properties like health points, attack power, and so on. And these objects interact with each other based on predefined rules, making it easier to create and manage really complex systems.
So it's kind of like building with Lego blocks.
Exactly. You have these modular pieces that you can combine in different ways to create all sorts of structures and interactions.
And this revolutionized software development, right?
It did. It's the dominant approach today because it makes software more modular, reusable, and easier to maintain.
Wow. So Kay was a visionary on like both the hardware and the software front.
He really was shaping not only the devices that we use, but also the very way that we build and interact with software.
But his vision didn't stop there.
Hmm.
He also imagined this futuristic environment where the boundaries between the physical and digital worlds would blur.
Oh, you're talking about the media room?
Yeah, the media room, that sounds like something straight out of science fiction. What would it be like to step into one of those?
Imagine a room that responds to your voice and gestures, creating a virtual environment that engages all of your senses.
Wow.
You could visit distant lands, explore historical events, or even immerse yourself in fantastical worlds, all from the comfort of this room.
So it's like a blend of virtual reality and augmented reality, creating this fusion of the real and the digital.
Exactly.
I can see how this could revolutionize education, entertainment, even how we work and collaborate. But I imagine there's some pretty big challenges involved in creating such a seamless, immersive experience.
For sure, building a media room would require major advances in artificial intelligence, allowing computers to understand natural language, recognize objects and actions, and generate these really realistic simulations that respond to your every move.
And then there's the whole ethical side of things too, right? Creating such powerful, immersive experiences could have a huge impact on our perceptions, behaviors, even our sense of reality.
It's crucial to consider the implications of such powerful technology, but the potential of the media room, it's undeniable. It could transform the way we learn, play, and connect with the world around us. It's a glimpse into a future where technology becomes this invisible but pervasive part of our lives, seamlessly augmenting our abilities and expanding the horizons of our experience.
That's both exciting and a little bit daunting to imagine such a future.
It is, but as we delve deeper into the possibilities of tools for thought, we inevitably bump up against this question of, what does it mean to be human in a world increasingly shaped by intelligent machines?
And that brings us to this field of knowledge engineering.
Exactly. Knowledge engineering is about building computer systems that can mimic the decision-making abilities of human experts.
Okay.
And one early example is MYCIN, a program developed in the 1970s to diagnose bacterial infections.
So instead of going to see a doctor, I could just consult MYCIN.
Well, not quite, but it was remarkably successful, demonstrating that computers could potentially provide valuable assistance in these complex domains.
That's pretty remarkable for the 1970s. But I imagine it also sparked a lot of debate about, the ethics of relying on AI for something as critical as medical diagnosis.
The development of expert systems like MYCIN raised some really profound questions.
Like what?
Could a computer ever truly replicate the intuition, experience, and empathy of a human expert? And what are the implications of trusting machines with decisions that affect human lives?
And that's a debate that continues to this day, right? Especially as AI becomes more and more sophisticated.
It does. We're creating machines that can perform tasks that once seemed uniquely human, and we're grappling with what that means for our understanding of intelligence, expertise, and the role of technology in our lives.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about these bigger questions about what it means to be human in a world where machines are becoming increasingly intelligent.
Exactly. It's a fascinating and challenging area of exploration.
It really is, and it underscores the importance of approaching these technologies with careful consideration, both of their potential benefits and their potential risks.
We need to ensure that as we develop more powerful tools for thought, that they remain tools in our hands serving human needs and values.
That's a crucial point. Technology should empower us, not replace us. And this brings us to another really interesting figure, Ted Nelson.
Oh, yeah.
And he was very critical of the direction that traditional computing was taking.
He was a real maverick.
And I remember reading about this ambitious project of his called Xanadu.
Ah, yes,
That
Xanadu.
sounded like a precursor to the World Wide Web.
Ted Nelson was a true pioneer in the field of hypertext. He envisioned a system where information could be linked and accessed seamlessly, regardless of its location or format. And Xanadu was his grand vision, a
Yeah.
global network of interconnected information that would revolutionize how we access and share knowledge.
It sounds incredibly ambitious, even by today's standards. What happened to Xanadu? Why didn't it take off the way the web did?
Xanadu faced a lot of challenges, both technical and social building. Such a complex and interconnected system proved incredibly difficult. And there were also issues related to funding collaboration and just getting people to adopt this radical new way of thinking about information.
So it was ahead of its time.
In many ways, it was Nelson's ideas about hypertext and interconnected information. They clearly influenced the development of the web, even if Xanadu itself never reached its full potential.
It's interesting how some visionary ideas, even if they don't fully materialize, can still have such a big impact.
They can. Nelson's work is a reminder that even ideas that seem too radical or ahead of their time, they can plant the seeds for future innovations.
Yeah.
He challenged conventional thinking about information, pushing the boundaries of what people thought was possible, and that in itself is a valuable contribution.
And his story highlights the importance of perseverance, too, and the challenges of bringing these truly transformative ideas to fruition.
Absolutely. It's not always easy to change the world, but the people who do are often the ones who are willing to keep pushing, even when faced with obstacles and setbacks.
It's really inspiring to see how all these pioneers, each with their own unique perspectives and motivations, they've shaped the evolution of computing and given us these incredible tools for thought. But they've also left us with some pretty profound questions to ponder.
They have. As we move forward, we need to be mindful of both the potential and the pitfalls of these technologies, ensuring that we use them to enhance our humanity, not diminish it.
It's a delicate balance for sure. It's really mind-blowing when you think about it, going from those early mechanical calculators to the possibility of these media REMs and computers that can diagnose diseases. It's
Yeah.
incredible how far we've come.
It really speaks to human ingenuity, this like relentless drive to push the boundaries of what's possible. But as fascinating as this history is, it's really just the beginning. The real story is unfolding right now as we grapple with the implications of these increasingly powerful tools for thought.
Yeah, exactly. That brings us back to you, the listener. After taking this deep dive into the history of computing, what stands out to you?
What sparks your imagination?
I mean, we've gone from these pioneers struggling with math errors to a future where computers might blend seamlessly with our physical reality.
It's amazing to think about.
But the thing that struck me throughout this whole deep dive is it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about the people.
It's about the individuals who dare to dream big. Those unconventional thinkers who challenge the status quo and push the boundaries of what's possible.
The ones who really drive innovation and shape the future of how we think and interact with the world.
Exactly.
And it's interesting how so often these individuals are overlooked or even ridiculed for their ideas, only to be recognized as visionaries years later. It makes you wonder, who are the unsung heroes of today?
For sure.
The ones working on ideas that might seem outlandish now but could revolutionize our world in the future?
That's a really exciting question to ponder what innovations are brewing in labs and startups right now that will fundamentally change how we think, learn, and create.
Yeah, what will the next generation of tools for thought look like? And how will they shape the minds of those infants growing up surrounded by these technologies?
I can't wait to find out.
Me too. And I think it's important to remember that the future of tools for thought isn't predetermined.
Right.
It's something we're all actively creating through our choices, our investments, and our imaginations.
It's a future where computers could become extensions of our minds, helping us solve complex problems, unlock new forms of creativity, and connect with each other in deeper ways.
Yeah, it's really exciting to think about. But it's also a future that demands careful consideration.
Absolutely.
We need to think about the ethical implications of these powerful technologies.
We need to make sure that they serve human needs and values, not the other way around. It's up to all of us to shape this future responsibly and thoughtfully.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a challenge. Don't just consume information, create with it.
Experiment, explore, push the boundaries of what's possible with the tools for thought that you have at your disposal.
Who knows, maybe you'll be the one to spark the next revolution in how we think and interact with the world. Until next time, keep diving deep, keep questioning, keep imagining.